Hey everybody, how we
Hey,
doing?
good, good. I was answering you. I'm excited for this episode, and I just answered you. Hey guys, that's what I meant to say. I would start and redo that, but I say let's
Nah,
run
let's
with
leave
it.
it
Let's
in.
do it.
This is an unplugged session.
Sure, right? We're
uh,
Eric Clapton, minus the heroin. God, sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm super excited for this
yeah,
episode. Obviously, this is the episode of The West Wing. Everyone's like, "This is the
this is
one
the
you got to
one.
get in on.
This is the one.
This is the one that people are looking forward to." I'm super looking forward to it,
Dude, this has been a long time coming. You know what I mean? Like ever since we started season two, we knew they were building to something. They've had so much momentum.
and it's been such a great season.
You know what? The kick in the pants that was the last episode.
The death of Mrs. Landingham for sure.
God, it
That
drained
was
us.
yeah, that was that yeah, and we had to do another show after that too
No, yeah,
because it was a
we had
short
to do a
week.
comedy after
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah. That was rough. I didn't see it coming.
yeah,
I should have, knowing Sorkin when they all the build up on the new car.
yes.
I should have been like, something's going to go happen with this car because there's no way I can have this. But it was the only happy thing going on in the show.
It was.
That's why.
It was
That's
kind of
why
a
it
magic
didn't
trick.
occur to me.
It really was a magic trick. He's kind of like
Yeah,
he really look at this thing over here.
yeah. No,
Pay attention to this over here.
for sure. In a lot of the episodes, we have really heavy episodes, but there's like one small storyline that kind
Mhm.
of peeks its head in that's a little bit lighter.
Yeah,
So it never occurred to me that that was going to be the darkest one by the end of the story.
there's no good times in the West Wing.
Exactly.
It's all
It's
bleak.
like Aaron, you got me, man. You set me up with a lot of jabs, and then in came that right hook, and you got
So
me.
somebody explained on Patreon why that was that she was killed off. So the actress whose name I'm forgetting, I
Right.
apologize. I guess they were at a party of some sorts for the last season, or they were just having a cigarette, and she mentioned to him that she was auditioning for a pilot for another show. He was like, "Oh, how am I going to write her off?"
Right.
So he did that, and then she did not get the other show.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Oh, that's so sad.
yeah, I know.
But I mean, that's Hollywood, right?
That's
That's like,
Hollywood.
yeah,
Yeah,
you close the one door, you better hope there's another one open for you, for sure.
I know.
I mean, famously, when Rob Lowe left this show
Uh-huh.
I can't remember what show it was that he was going to start after this. Excuse me,
Was it practice?
something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, it obviously wasn't the hit that The West Wing was.
I don't know why you would leave this show. I mean, we haven't seen. I don't even know when he leaves the show. To tell you the truth, I
I
just know
don't
he
either.
does.
It's sometime in the middle of the run of the show he leaves.
But I mean, if your character is not given justice, I guess. But at the
Right.
same time, Sam's a great character.
I just think that Rob Lowe is more of a leading man, and it's an ensemble role.
I mean,
I love him in the role. I don't want him to go.
he
He's
left
perfect.
Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did leave Parks and Rec.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. He's done a lot of different, like especially in comedy, but a lot of different pilots. Starring vehicles
Yeah.
in television. Like he start. I don't know the number of shows that he's done since this, but it's been a lot of them,
I
right?
feel like it has. He's
And
he's a
it's
TV guy for sure.
right, and some of them and most of them just haven't worked.
Yeah.
This and Parks and Rec, and isn't he on one of the Chicago shows now, or
Think no, it's
one of
oh
the
my
nine
god,
one
it's
ones?
911. It's like the 911 or
Right,
something.
right. And I always pull for him because I love Rob Lowe,
I do too.
especially on this show.
He's a great presence. Honestly, the standout for me this season has definitely been Martin Sheen.
Yeah, Martin Sheen's had a really great season,
I
and Brad Whitford, but I feel like
I was gonna say Bradley Whitford's also
I
like
feel I mean you can point to all of them for sure, but I feel like that the as we get into this season two of the show, I
mhm.
feel like the show's kind of transitioned into being more of those two guys' shows,
Yeah, for sure.
more of Josh's and more of Bartlett's show.
They seem to definitely be in the front seat right now.
Yeah, right.
And for me, the big three, like I think everybody in the show is impeccable. They're all fantastic, but the big three for me are Allison Janney, Martin
Yes.
Sheen, Bradley Whitford,
Yeah,
and Richard Schiff too as well.
Schiff and
Superstar Schiff.
Schiff and Rob Lowe are great,
Yeah,
and even Janelle Maloney as Donna is great. But
I was
I
gonna say,
kind of have to agree with you. It's hard to beat any of them.
mhm,
But my God, Allison Janney is a titan on this show, man.
powerhouse.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and the actress who Janelle Maloney,
Yeah,
she has been incredible this season.
she has.
Donna's role has stepped up so much in season two to where like I didn't really anticipate that.
Well, I don't think that was the plan, right?
Mhm.
Because remember, in the first season, it was Moira Kelly that had the
Mandy.
opening credit, Mandy,
Yep.
and they didn't just take Mandy off, and I'm kind of glad they did, but they inserted Janelle
Yeah.
Maloney into the opening credit sequence as like a regular cast member and not a supporting cast member.
So now that we're at the end of season two,
Yeah.
does it surprise you that we've had no mention and the fact that Mandy just kind of disappeared out of thin air?
No, I I think that is a way of the writing team and Sorkin admitting like we didn't do this well, and
Well,
I think the message is will just some of our viewers
mhm.
have referred to that because other shows do it too, as a character who just gets written off a show and
They
you're
got Mandy,
going to Mandyville or something like
Mandyville,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she was in. Was she in the assassination attempt?
No, I don't think so. And if she was, she wasn't there.
Okay. I was gonna say for some reason I thought she was there, and it's interesting that they did not just have her character like killed
Die.
off.
Yeah.
It feels a little dirty, but
Right.
also somehow this feels dirtier than just having her character have a conclusion.
I wonder if when they because as a lot of people have pointed out, Sorkin didn't know
Hmm.
how that shooting was going to resolve itself,
Yeah,
like who was going to die, who's going to be back.
yeah.
I wonder if in the interim between season 1 and 2, he decides he's going to get rid of Man. He's like, man, I should have just had her there and killed her off.
I know, right?
Yeah,
And somebody there's just like Aaron.
right, yeah.
Come on,
Come on, we get it.
we know how you write women, Aaron.
But yeah, I do think Mandy was not a great part of the show,
No.
and that's probably part of why season 2 is better, but only a little bit. I think season 2 is so strong because every episode is just brilliantly done. I especially for me, starting with Noelle in episode 10,
Fantastic.
I just feel like the show just took it to a new level there.
It really has. I would say okay, so this season 2 feels more refined. It
Mhm.
feels more focused. It feels like you're really getting the ins and outs of the West Wing.
And
Um,
bigger ideas at play too.
bigger ideas at play. And I would say the season 2 of the West Wing. I think it's shoulder and shoulder with most of his other work, with his film work at
I do
least.
too. I do too.
I think it's as good as A Few Good Men. It's as good as The Social Network. I don't know if it's better than The Social Network because
I
it's
don't think so. Social Network is an
one of
amazing
the
show.
greatest movies
Right.
ever made. You know what I mean? So like, but I do think that it should be in the conversation. I think it's as strong as anything he has written, and I can't wait to see where it goes. I
Sure.
really
I,
can't.
I think if you start, you get the conversation of what are the best seasons of television,
Yeah,
I think this has to be in
season 2
that
West Wing.
season 2 of the West
Yeah.
Wing has to be in the conversation of some of the best one of the best seasons of television of all time.
So the fact that we set the bar so high, it's like I don't want to get my hopes up for season 3 because this is great.
I don't know if season 3 is a drop off.
There's no evidence that it is. I
Right.
think you guys in Patreon have told us it's just as good.
Right. But my guess on season 3, and we haven't watched it yet, obviously, is that it's not so much that there's a drop off, but the focus shifts to re-election. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think it becomes a different focus show.
That's
Does
interesting.
that kind of make sense?
I like the election process. That's
Right.
that's
Yeah, no,
interesting to me.
I think it's going to be very interesting. I think we're going to get a candidate. We're going to get
I want to see that.
debates. We're going to get touring the country and having to do rallies and all that crap that comes with campaigning.
And that's the fun part of the show. I like the ins and outs of it. Like
Right.
I like seeing the day to day in the White House, but the special thing about the West Wing is the dynamic between the characters in the White
Right.
House,
Absolutely.
and it kind of transcends politics almost. You
It
know what I
does. It does. The politics is obviously important, and we have pretty strong feelings about the political statements of Showmaze. We agree with most of them.
mean? Yeah, we're pretty liberal guys.
Right. Yeah, spoiler alert. We're not hate watching this. But anyway, we've talked for a minute. We're very excited to get in this episode. So I do want to welcome some new Patreon subscribers from over the weekend, guys. So Patricia Coling, Flavor Vibe, Martin Wilson, Slayerette, Jake Elliott, Aaron, Rahul Palnitker, Bart, uh, Helios Bodis, and Nathan Burke. Sorry, guys. Welcome and thank you for being here. We really do appreciate it, guys.
Hey, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, you make this whole thing work. Absolutely.
Sure do. If you're watching this on YouTube for the first time, welcome to our channel.
Hey.
If you don't mind hitting the like button for us, leave us a comment down below, and please, please, please hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all the new content we have coming your way.
Absolutely. If you would like to see a full reaction to the West Wing episodes and everything else we're watching, please check out the link in the description below to our Patreon page.
It's a good
By the time you're seeing this on YouTube, we are several episodes into season 3 over there, which we cannot wait for. All right, I think it's time to see this big
Let's do it.
finale. Do you think we start off addressing the death of Mrs. Landingham up front? I know I would put money that that's not going to be a back burner thing.
I don't know. So the episode's called The Two Cathedrals.
One, probably a funeral.
I think, yeah,
Yeah,
I
probably.
think so.
And I think that's the appropriate thing to do.
Even if you can squeeze out a
Even if you can squeeze out a win. This is what the campaign's going to be about.
That's probably true.
Democrats telling the president, don't come to my district. I think the president has got to strongly consider not running for re-election.
I mean, think that's fair.
They knew this. They should have known this is coming too.
Is the president going to run for
Have
re-election?
they not had that meeting yet, or they canceled the meeting because of Mrs. Landingham?
They were gonna do it.
Right, they were gonna do it that night.
They all broke for food.
Harry, Bill,
Yeah,
We
yeah.
got the news.
there's going to be a press conference tonight. I'd watch.
Man, they're really setting this
They're gonna
episode
drag
up
it out,
hard,
then,
aren't
yeah.
they? No, which I think is great.
Yeah.
It's not like Aaron Sorkin doesn't know how to build tension.
Right? Like,
Yeah,
he knows that this is where he works perfectly.
where he can really pace his delivery.
He
and
can really chew on his dialogue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Look, Toby, has anyone considered whether or not he's up for this? up for this? I mean, some stuff has happened since...
CJ gave it to the network. We're pretty much locked in.
AP, Reuters, Agence France, something about seating on Air Force One.
Seating arrangements?
Seating arrangements on Air Force One.
Have you seen him today?
I was just wondering the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
is Bartlett out? Yeah.
No.
No, why were you assuming it's got to be Hoynes? You don't think Wetland's going to get into it? Hutchinson, Seth Gillette?
Please, conversation isn't ruling out Bartlett as a candidate. It's a.
But Hoynes is going to run.
Right. Hoynes would, of course, be running, yeah.
Well, if Bartlett runs, do you think Hoynes runs?
No, not against
You
an
don't think so?
incumbent, no.
You don't talk like that here. I don't give a damn whose nephew you are. Tony?
Ooh.
President Bartlett's not a candidate. He's the president.
Is this a flashback?
It has to be, right?
Father's calling you.
We're getting a young Martin Sheen.
Yeah, we are.
Mr. Spence found this cigarette butt on the floor in the aisle of the chapel.
People shouldn't put their cigarettes out in the chapel, Mr. Spence.
She's going to be taking over in my office for Mrs. Tillinghast. Excuse me. This is Dolores Landingham.
Oh,
He's known.
he's known her since he was in high school.
I didn't realize that.
It becomes
You notice they cut
peacekeeping.
back to the cigarette? He's holding a cigarette there?
Yeah, it's a good cut.
Isn't it strange to have a tropical storm in May?
I'm not certain.
Is it? I don't
Pretty
know.
sure there's a season, and this isn't it. You ever been to National Cathedral?
Yes, sir.
You know you can lay the Washington Monument down on its side in that church.
I did, actually.
The fact that the OAS has passed a resolution allowing
Hey,
you to
there's
explore
Jane Lynch.
military
Lynch,
options
yeah.
mean you've exhausted the diplomatic ones?
Of course it doesn't.
CJ, I don't have any problem with my seat on the plane.
Get inside.
That's not what we're talking about.
Notebooks, no tape recorders. The story's embargoed for an hour, and you'll identify me as a senior White House official.
Is she leaking the MS thing?
Do you have any idea why the door to the portico keeps swinging open? It's a little annoying.
They're replacing the latch. When the right sequence of doors are open in the building, there's a wind tunnel into the Oval Office.
No kidding.
Unusually calm.
Yeah.
It wasn't a
Oh,
non-denominational
nice.
service.
What a cut there.
it
Yeah.
was.
It wouldn't have felt non-denominational if you were Jewish.
Why do you call your father sir?
Is this going to be a whole afternoon of questions?
Well, actually, you've been talking for quite some time.
She does
I'm
a pretty
sorry.
good
Am I boring
Van
you,
Landingham,
Dolores?
doesn't
Mrs.
she?
Landingham, please.
It looks like they're going to charge her with vehicular manslaughter.
Drink and drive.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. He's way out of it.
Yeah.
He's in his head for sure.
It's a bad deal because it was an accident, but I mean, like, if you're drinking and driving and you kill
Yeah,
somebody,
you don't-
like,
yeah.
you're facing prison time.
Yeah. I just feel like, he's got the sense of unfinished business. Yeah, that's amazing.
How old that is. Hundreds of years, obviously, probably. All you historians out there, you
Yeah.
let us know.
Let us know without telling us we're stupid because we have no idea.
It was built in the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Give her happiness with your saints.
Oh,
And
all
raise
the
up her body with the
secretaries.
saints of the land.
I will not cry.
I'm not gonna cry.
I will not
I'm gonna
cry.
I'm gonna drink every time I get close.
You have a habit of doing that, you know?
What's that?
Telling me I'm doing something wrong before I've had a chance to do it at all.
Well, that must be a little annoying. You know the women who work at the school are paid less money than the men?
Sorry?
The women are paid less money than the men.
If you want to convince me of something, show me numbers.
That's also a reasonable argument right there.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
I like that
Okay,
it's
stop showing the secretaries.
Donna.
Yeah.
I like that it's Sam and Toby as pallbearers. That's
I do
really-
too, yeah.
So Mr. Hopkins has a family of 4 to support.
If
What
we
does that
paid
have to
people
do with it?
according
Yeah.
to how many children they had to support, then Malcolm Bundy, the groundskeeper, would get triple what the headmaster gets. If you think we're wrong, if you think Mr. Hopkins should honestly get paid more than Mrs. Chadwick, then I respect that. And you won't speak up because you can't be bothered, then God, Jed, I don't even want to know you. You stuck your hands in your pockets, you looked away and smiled.
Bartlett
means you
does
made up
that.
your
on
mind.
the-
Does
yeah.
That doesn't mean anything.
Oh, yes, it does.
So she kind of is the one that
She saw greatness in him first.
she's the one that got into the voice of the voiceless.
Yeah.
That's really good, and that's why it's hitting him so hard.
Yeah.
If he wouldn't be standing there,
He
if it wasn't
almost
for her.
looks furious, you know?
Would you ask the agents to seal the cathedral for a minute?
She bought her first new car and you hit her with a drunk driver. What? Is that supposed to be funny? What was Josh Lyman? A warning shot? That was my son. What did I ever do to yours but praise his glory and praise his name? They say we haven't had a storm this bad since you took out that tender ship of mine in the North Atlantic last year.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
You know what a tender ship does? Fixes the other ships. Have I displeased you, you feckless thug?
Whoa.
3.8 million new jobs. That wasn't good. Hey, Kratom Adeo Pio. Adeo Justo. Eos in Crucium.
My God.
Speaking Latin to God.
I love the fact that it wasn't translated for us, too.
Lighting a cigarette in the church.
Oh, what a great
Oh
moment.
my God.
What a great moment that is.
You get Heinz.
I want to bring it up again.
Why?
Because I got shouted down the first 3 times, and I work here just like you do. Can I help you?
Yeah.
We don't know what the hell they're talking about in there, Toby. We don't know whether he's running or not. I think we have to
There
have...
are no ways. I'm launching a 24-hour cable news channel, and I'm building it to compete. And I'd like you to be the news director.
Oh, wow. That's huge.
Greg Summerhays was here to offer me a job. Leo got me a lifeboat. I'm gonna rip his arms off and...
It's answer B.
He's not running again.
When you said you got Hoynes.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, here's my thing. I obviously think he changes his mind, so what happens between that?
I don't think Bartlett gives up like that.
Right.
Leo, you got me a lifeboat?
Yeah.
I would use it.
Yep.
No. To show him that.
Oh, to show Bartlett that everyone's not jumping ship.
Take care of everybody.
Yeah.
You'll want to take the first question from Lawrence Altman, the Times chief medical correspondent.
What are the chances that he just said screw it and just...
I think that's going to be it.
Is this your quote? An article you and your friends wrote condemning Professor Loomis.
For banning certain books from the library, yes.
Was that meant to
No,
be
it was
funny?
irony.
Oh, no.
Well, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
Right,
Slapped him in the face when he brought it up.
Yeah.
Mrs. Landingham!
Oh.
The door keeps blowing open.
Yes, but there's an intercom and you could use it to call me at my desk. God doesn't make cars crash and you know it. Stop using me as an excuse. Because there are people way worse off than you.
That's true. There you
How many
go.
Americans don't have health insurance?
44 million.
What's the #1 cause of death for black men under 35?
Homicide.
If you don't want to run again, I respect that. Because you think it's going to be too hard or you think you're going to lose. Well, God, Jed, I don't even want to know you.
Close the door and you get back to work. You keep the storm outside. He's gonna walk
Or you
into
just
it.
walk through it.
Walk into the
Walk right through the storm.
Yeah.
Go right through it.
Embrace it. God, this is good writing.
This is amazing writing. Sorkin has always been so good, especially on this show, of how he uses music.
Exactly. I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Look at this. You got a tracking walk and talk with nobody talking.
I've got goosebumps.
Yeah.
He's so confused.
Yeah, like,
It's like
somebody
who put a
smoking in
cigarette out
here?
here? Yeah.
As they go by. Oh my God.
God, the show is just a perfect harmony of writing, acting, cinematography. It is a perfect TV show.
Yeah. He's looking for someone else.
Can you tell us right now if you'll be seeking a second term?
Yeah, hands in the pockets.
Oh,
No, that's so cool. And he smiles.
perfect.
You know what? We don't get him saying it,
We know he's
and
going
I don't
to,
care.
though.
Exactly. I thought that was perfect.
You know how we know he's going to? 'Cause they established early in the episode when he puts his hands in his pockets and he smiles, he's already made up his mind. He's going to do it. He's
Yeah.
not. There's no way. There's not a snowball's chance, and you know what? That he's not gonna.
No. I think that has replaced the Christmas episode in season 1 as my favorite episode of the show.
This is absolutely my favorite episode. I
Yeah,
think
thus
it's
far.
without a doubt the best episode. All the way around. Okay, so like I said, like literally 3 minutes ago, this was the perfect harmony of everything that makes this show great. Writing, acting, the way it's shot,
Yeah.
the themes of it. This is the most accessible episode for sure. This is an episode. It certainly helps that if you've seen the show, but if nobody has ever seen The West Wing, show them this episode. I guarantee you they don't walk away feeling moved.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Or that they will walk away feeling moved. I don't see
I know
how
what
you
you mean,
don't.
yeah.
You know, and, that monologue in the cathedral is some of the best writing I've ever seen.
Yeah. As I was saying, I absolutely adore the fact that we didn't get a translation of it.
No.
It's like a private conversation between Martin Sheen and God, and it wasn't for us.
For
So,
those of you who speak Latin, I'm sure a lot of you are going to put it on Patreon as to what he said.
and I'm sure there are translations you can
Yeah.
Google and stuff because I'm sure people wanted to know.
Absolutely.
But I'm cool not knowing.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was a private moment.
That's a thing that we've seen in movies and TV before, Man versus God,
Right.
where he has people have a big monologue and they break down. They why they
Yeah.
scream to the heavens, and this was done in a way that was so unique that only this show can get away with. I feel like.
Well, I thought
It wasn't hammy. It wasn't corny.
Yeah. Can we talk about what is it in Fight Club? The idea of our fathers are our stand-ins for God, because the two cathedrals idea, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
The one cathedral where, the non-denominational service where Jed's dad shuts him up by smacking him in the face.
Yeah.
And then him, years later telling off God in another cathedral. He calls God a feckless thug, which is absolutely what his dad was.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. That you're right. That is,
Um,
his father was God ostensibly in his
Yeah,
eyes.
he was his, as an upbringing. He certainly saw himself as that to Jed. And Jed did back off on the, inequitable pay for women. At least in that moment, I am confident he didn't let it go. You know what I mean? That it came up again in some way. Maybe in the paper, but in some way Jed brought it up again.
You see-
But in that moment, his dad did bully him into being quiet. And God didn't do it later.
Maybe you're right. The way I read that was because he didn't do it then, he's going to do it now.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
Mrs. Lanningham asked him to do that, and then obviously he didn't ask his father about that.
That's true. That's probably true.
And then obviously in her passing, her ghost basically told him there's more to be done.
More to be done. And this time he didn't
This
back
time
down.
he's gonna,
Right. He'll take the smack in the face this time.
That was the storm, right?
Right.
Him walking into the storm, being
Yep.
like, "It's fine.
Don't smack me. Yeah, hit me in the face.
Beat me up all you want. I'm not
I'm
gonna
not
back
done.
down."
Yeah.
But my word, what a fantastic episode.
It was obviously a Bartlett-centered episode where he didn't do much talking. He did almost no talking up until the cathedral.
Yeah.
Little surface things like, tell me what a tropical storm is.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a lot of insight into what he was thinking until that moment.
Yeah.
And not a whole lot coming out of it.
There was a really good moment early in the episode when we were talking about how she kind of ignited the fire in him and he wouldn't
Yeah,
play without her.
absolutely, yeah.
And you said that she got the ball rolling on his service, right?
Yeah.
Right after you said that, Leo was like, I thought it was a good service. And, that's obviously, he's talking about the funeral, but
Right.
you can read that as her life. She gave a great service to
Yeah,
the country.
it was a good
and
service,
to
yeah.
his administration,
Right, and he in turn has given great service to the country.
Yes, and the symbolism in this episode is so strong. And normally it's really easy to mess that up, right?
For sure.
You can over symbolize, and it can be hammy.
That speech could have been in
Yeah.
the hands of a lesser actor, a lesser director, and a lesser writer. That "Why God" speech could have been garbage,
Yeah.
right? But it was perfect.
This is, in many ways, Sorkin is our contemporary Frank Capra. This felt very "It's a Wonderful
Yeah,
Life"
it did,
almost,
didn't
you know
it?
what
Yeah,
I mean?
it really did.
I like how they take those tropes that really work back in the films from the 30s and 40s, and it's applied today. Well, this is obviously 20 years ago, but
Right.
this is still contemporary, I would consider.
For sure, absolutely.
And I loved it. It's an update on that, and it works perfectly. And it's not a ripoff. It's not hammy. It is perfect writing.
Yeah, it really is.
And Martin Sheen, what a powerhouse actor.
Yeah. Man, this was just solid work all the way around. I mean, we could praise this one all day long. I think it's enough to say as many of the episodes as we've absolutely loved, including in this season. This one stands above all of the others. I don't know how it's possible, but this was a near perfect episode of television.
I would say this is
from
probably
start to finish.
This is his best performance as well, Martin Sheen.
Yeah.
And this is from the guy who made Apocalypse Now,
Right.
Badlands, some of the most classic films of all time. This is the best performance I've ever seen Martin Sheen give.
He nailed this, man. He nailed it.
It was incredible.
And a shout out to the two actresses who played Mrs. Landingham too.
Yeah.
I mean, they brought it in this one.
The younger actress really had the cadence down of her.
She did, yeah.
voice,
She very much sold Mrs. Landingham to me there.
Yeah.
But it was not. We also, in flashback, we kind of do get to, one, the simple fact that he's known her since she's known him since he was in high school.
Didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that coming, and it makes it so much more painful, right?
Yeah.
Like she's
Yeah.
like, I always assumed when you have a secretary of a president that she kind of came with the White House, if that makes sense.
I did too. I figured they had like a history of some
Right.
sorts, but not that far
But
back.
right, yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
she's probably been his secretary or receptionist or whatever you want to call her, assistant, for as long as he's been in politics.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Probably going back to congressional and governor days
Yeah.
because they've known each other forever, and working for his dad must not have been, was probably not a picnic.
No,
So I feel like Jed, as he progressed, kind of brought her along with him. And my God, that just makes it so much rougher. But I love the fact that she wasn't there, but his memory of her sitting there in the Oval Office with the door open and the storm blowing in, where he kind of talks himself into doing the right thing through her voice.
That was almost Shakespearean, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, it was amazing. It was. There aren't words for how great that was. I like the decision, the directing decision too.
Yeah.
Like she's sitting there, and it's like coming from her. You tell me numbers.
Yeah.
You tell me that you're going to run.
Yeah.
But they make the decision in an overhead shot to take her out of it, so you get reminded this is just him talking to himself about why he should be running.
Because he knows.
Because he knows.
He knows.
Right. He knows that he needs to be president again.
And obviously, this is fresh. This is our first time seeing this. We're just taking it as it came.
Yeah. This is one you could talk about for a long time.
I know, and I'm sure as soon as we end this and we walk away and like we take a day to reflect on it, we're just gonna have more thoughts about it, like racking our brain, and we'll address it at the beginning of season 3, obviously. But my word, this was a fantastic episode.
This is a great episode of television.
Perfect TV episode. Yeah, and I understand why you guys. So everybody on Patreon was like, quit overhyping the last episode. They're gonna hate it.
No. That was amazing.
This was perfect.
This was exceptional television. This was as good as anything I've ever seen on TV.
It was amazing.
You can't say enough about the entire team that worked on it too, from the actors to the director who killed it, the director of photography, the cinematographer, obviously Aaron Sorkin. I mean, this was just good work all the way through.
Yeah, and that's why the cathedral scene is why you make movies and TV.
Oh, for sure.
That's what you should aspire to do, is something as good as that.
And I can't say enough about the decision to show the history through flashback with Mrs. Landingham when he was young.
It's very show, not tell.
Right. So very much so. We didn't have to have that speech. If I've known her for so many years, and we got shown this is how Jed Bartlet became Jed Bartlet, and she had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, and we know that the next episode in season 3 is ostensibly kind of a one-off. It's dealing with 9/11. I don't consider that to be a spoiler. Obviously, this is a huge.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people mention that and say you can just skip that one. We're not gonna respect the show and go in the order that it's presented. So we're gonna start with season 3, episode 1, the one-off 9/11 episode, and that's all I know.
Which I think we need to address. Obviously, like it's very important. We both remember it, and I want to see how they handle that.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Yeah. All right, we'll catch you then, guys.
See ya.